Why do intelligent, motivated people keep repeating the same destructive patterns? Why do you start projects with enthusiasm only to abandon them halfway? Why do you sabotage relationships, procrastinate on what matters, and make choices you know will hurt you? The common answer is lack of discipline, weakness, or low self-esteem. But that answer is wrong, deeply wrong. According to neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky, self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It is a neurological war happening inside your skull. A biological battle between two brain systems with completely opposite goals. On one side, your prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, planning, and long-term vision. On the other side, your limbic system, the primitive part of your brain programmed to seek immediate pleasure and avoid discomfort at all costs. And in this silent war, the limbic system almost always wins. This is not a metaphor. It is science. Your brain evolved over millions of years to keep you alive in hostile environments where danger was constant and tomorrow was uncertain. The brain that acted fast, avoided risks, and rewarded immediate impulses was the one that survived. But in the modern world, this same ancient brain becomes your internal saboteur. It still reacts as if you are fleeing from predators when you are just trying to focus on work or build a meaningful life. The most disturbing truth is this. Your brain was not designed to help you achieve your dreams. It was designed to keep you safe and comfortable in the short term. And that is precisely why you fail. Not because you are weak, but because you are obeying a brain running on outdated software. Most people believe there is one coherent self in control, a rational mind making conscious decisions. But neuroscience reveals a more uncomfortable truth. Your brain is not a unified entity. It is a collection of competing systems, modules, and circuits constantly fighting for control. You do not have one brain. You have multiple systems operating simultaneously, often in direct conflict with each other. This explains everything. Why you say you want to change but keep repeating the same patterns. Why you set the alarm to wake up early for exercise but hit snooze when morning comes. Why you promise to focus but compulsively check social media instead. It is not because you are weak. It is because different parts of your brain have completely different agendas, and the faster one wins. Picture this. Your prefrontal cortex wants you to work on that important project. It has a long-term vision. It knows this matters for your future. But at the same time, your limbic system detects slight discomfort, boredom, or anxiety, and it immediately triggers an escape response. Maybe a YouTube video, a snack, a glance at your phone. The impulse does not pass through reason. It emerges and dominates in milliseconds. By the time your prefrontal cortex tries to intervene, it is already too late. The self-sabotaging behavior has occurred. And then another circuit activates. Rationalization. You invent a story to explain why you could not do it. I am too tired today. I will make up for it tomorrow. It was not that important anyway. Your brain is not just sabotaging your actions. It is deceiving your consciousness about why you failed. This is not a moral failure. It is your internal architecture fighting against itself. The key insight is this. There is no single sovereign self-making decisions. There are parts of your brain that need to be managed, redirected, outsmarted. And this requires more than willpower. It requires strategy. To understand why we sabotage ourselves, we must face an uncomfortable truth. The brain you use today was not made for the life you lead. It is the product of millions of years of adaptation to a world that no longer exists. For most of human history, we lived in brutal, unpredictable environments. Survival was everything. Our ancestors were not trying to be productive or fulfilled. They were trying not to die. The brain developed quick response mechanisms: flee from threats, grab immediate food, conserve energy, avoid unnecessary risks. These behaviors, now called impulsive or self-sabotaging, were absolutely functional for survival. But now, think about your modern life. You do not need to hunt for food. You do not face predators. You can plan years ahead. Yet your brain still operates with those same ancient circuits. When you try to start a long-term project or maintain discipline, you are asking your prefrontal cortex to take control. But this system is slow, limited, and vulnerable to fatigue. Meanwhile, your limbic system reacts in milliseconds, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain before you even realize what is happening. Your brain did not evolve to ensure your success. It evolved to maximize survival and reproduction. This means the most powerful circuits in your mind are not focused on what will benefit you in 5 years. They are focused on what will relieve your discomfort right now. Your brain prefers the dopamine hit from a social media, like over the quiet progress of meaningful work. It prefers the numbing comfort of procrastination over the productive discomfort of creation. From an evolutionary perspective, today has always mattered more than tomorrow. This is called evolutionary mismatch. We live in a world of abundance with brains programmed for scarcity. We are bombarded by stimuli, notifications, processed foods, and infinite entertainment that hijack the same circuits that once kept us alive. Self-sabotage is not a malfunction. It is the perfect functioning of an ancient system forced to operate in an overstimulating modern environment. And this mismatch affects how you value rewards. Your brain literally places more value on immediate pleasures than future achievements. This is called temporal discounting, and it is driven by dopamine. Imagine you have two options. Work on a project that could transform your life in a year, or watch an episode of your favorite series right now. You know which choice benefits you more. Yet something pulls you toward the easier, quicker path. That something is dopamine. For years, dopamine was called the pleasure chemical. But neuroscience reveals a more disturbing truth. Dopamine is not about pleasure itself. It is about the anticipation of reward. It drives motivation and craving. When you feel the urge to check your phone, eat a snack, or buy something online, dopamine is triggering that impulse. And it is radically biased toward immediate, tangible, easily accessible rewards. Your brain literally discounts the value of rewards as they move further into the future. A piece of chocolate now has more neurochemical impact than losing weight in 3 months. A short video now generates more dopamine than studying to change careers. This is not a failure of self-control. It is a deeply rooted biological bias. The dopamine system evolved to favor quick decisions in unpredictable environments. On the savannah, it was better to enjoy ripe fruit now than wait for an uncertain hunt tomorrow. Today, this same mechanism makes you compulsively check social media, jump between tasks, and abandon long-term commitments. And here is the most insidious part. The more you give in to immediate dopamine hits, the more your brain learns that this is the right path. It strengthens those neural connections, creates habits, and automates the pattern. Over time, you do not even think about it. You self-sabotage on autopilot. What was once a choice becomes a reflex you barely notice. So how do you resist something so powerful? The answer is not willpower. It lies in redesigning your environment, engineering friction, and using dopamine against itself. There is a widespread belief that success depends on willpower, that if you want it enough and resist hard enough, anything is possible. But neuroscience destroys this illusion. Willpower is a limited resource. If you rely on it to overcome self-sabotage, you have already started losing. Your prefrontal cortex operates like a muscle, and like any muscle, it gets tired. With every decision made, every impulse resisted, every task initiated, this system consumes energy and approaches exhaustion. This is called ego depletion. The more you need to decide, the weaker your self-control becomes. And the weaker it gets, the more your limbic system takes over. Throughout a typical day, your prefrontal cortex is bombarded by hundreds of micro-decisions. What to wear, what to eat, how to respond to messages, whether to check your phone. All of this drains cognitive energy. By the end of the day, when you should focus on your most important goals, you are already mentally exhausted. Not because you are weak, but because your rational brain is depleted. This exhaustion is not just psychological. It is physiological. During intense mental effort, the metabolism of the prefrontal cortex changes. The brain conserves resources and functions in low-energy mode. When this happens, automatic instinctive systems take control. That is why you order takeout even when there is food at home. Why you watch hours of videos even knowing what needs to be done. The autopilot takes over, and the autopilot is programmed for the easiest path, not the right one. This shatters the myth of unlimited self-control. No one is disciplined all the time. Not elite athletes, not monks, not productivity experts. What these people do is structure their lives to minimize decisions and reduce the time they need willpower. They create routines, automate healthy behaviors, eliminate temptations from their environment, and protect their peak energy times for demanding tasks. The battle against self-sabotage is not won at the moment of choice. It is won beforehand when you design your environment and create systems that prevent the saboteur from taking control. If your brain is optimized for immediate survival, not self-actualization, then the only way to overcome self-sabotage is not by fighting it, but by reprogramming it. Most people fail not from lack of effort, but from relying too much on willpower and neglecting something more powerful: the environment. This is behavioral engineering, the intelligent design of contexts that shape your behavior before you even need to decide. The limbic system wins because it responds first. It does not wait for analysis. It acts. Therefore, if you want to overcome yourself, ensure that when the system activates, the right option is also the easiest and most accessible option. Self-sabotage exists because at the moment of impulse, the sabotaging path is more available, more automatic, and less costly than the desired behavior. To change this, manipulate the invisible variables that shape your actions: friction, reward, and automation. First, eliminate choices. Every choice requires energy, and each choice is a chance for your brain to fail. Great leaders and high performers minimize trivial decisions. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit. Barack Obama did not want to waste energy choosing what to eat or wear. This is not eccentricity, it is self-control economy. If you want to stop eating junk food, do not buy it. If you want to read more, leave the book on your nightstand. The less you need to decide, the greater your chance of maintaining the behavior. Second, increase the friction of sabotage and reduce the friction of progress. The brain follows the path of least resistance. If you want to stop using social media, log out, delete the apps, set long passwords. If you want to wake up early to exercise, prepare your clothes, fill your water bottle, place your shoes by your bed. If it is easier to perform the desired behavior than give in to impulse, you win without fighting. Third, use dopamine against itself. If dopamine responds to anticipated reward, associate difficult behaviors with something pleasurable. This is temptation bundling. Only listen to your favorite podcast on the treadmill. Only drink special coffee after 25 minutes of deep focus. The brain learns to expect something good after effort and creates a new association pattern. Instead of fearing the task, it begins to desire it. Fourth, turn intentions into automatic commands. Instead of saying, "I will meditate tomorrow," say, "If it is 8 a.m., then I will meditate for 10 minutes. This is if-then planning, one of the most effective mechanisms for converting intention into action. The brain struggles with vague decisions but excels with fixed routines. By creating specific triggers, you eliminate the critical moment of choice where sabotage happens. These tools are not productivity hacks. They are shields against the sabotaging instincts programmed into your biology. The more you structure your day with systems, the less you rely on motivation, and the more these actions become automatic, the more your brain learns this is the standard path, the new normal. But there is one final element: timing. Your prefrontal cortex is not always at maximum capacity. It has peaks of energy and clarity that vary with circadian rhythm, sleep, nutrition, and stress. According to Sapolsky, the early hours after waking are when this part of your brain is most fresh, energized, and functional. This is when your mind has the greatest capacity to resist impulses and make long-term decisions. But what do most people do upon waking? They open their phones, dive into distractions, respond to trivial messages, and exhaust their executive circuits early. By the time something important comes up, the brain is already drained. The limbic system takes over without resistance. To break this pattern, protect your cognitive golden window. Schedule your most important, demanding, transformative tasks for when your prefrontal cortex is strongest. Shield your morning from noise, distractions, and unnecessary decisions. Reserve that time for what truly matters: writing, studying, creating, planning, solving. The part of your mind that wants to change your life needs to act while it still has energy to win. Aligning your routine with your biological rhythm drastically reduces the need for willpower. You do not fight yourself when you act at the right moment. This is behavioral intelligence, synchronizing what you want to do with when you are most likely to succeed. Here is the brutal truth: you will not stop self-sabotaging with motivation, promises, or good intentions. The solution lies in recognizing that your brain was built for survival, not success. And from that understanding, you design a system that works with your biology, not against it. Self-sabotage is not a failure. It is behavior consistent with a machine built to escape pain, seek pleasure, and conserve energy. But now you know this, and that changes everything. Because once you understand the machine, you can learn to operate it and even reprogram it. Your transformation starts with this knowledge. Stop fighting your brain. Start redesigning the battlefield.